TUI, the airline company, they discovered that when they really looked into the data, people with disability had more people going on holiday together with them. They booked sooner, they paid earlier, and they came back the next year. So commercially, that's a perfect customer. And that means the extra work they did in building the websites was worth every penny, because now they can say, we give you really accessible holidays. The Purple Pound, they have a great bit of data which says organizations potentially lose millions by not thinking about accessibility. Why is that? Because if I'm a family, one of my family members who's not accessible, and they have a bad experience, I'm not going to go there again. I was booking for an event with about 40 people last month, and we booked a location. And then one of my colleagues who's in a wheelchair, he phoned them up and said, the building's accessible. And they said, no. Where does that say it on the website? Yes. We can accommodate you in another location. So they shift us all across to another location, but they were mightily embarrassed that they hadn't told us on the website. And it only was because he phoned up that there was a problem. So financially, you're missing a trick if you're not getting it right. You want to move that invisible 20% to the loyal 20%. It's also ethical. And a lot of people who care about accessibility start with this, and it is important. It covers probably 3 of the protective characteristics in the UK. Age, disability specifically, obviously, but also maternity or pregnancy. If you have an organisation which thinks about diversity and inclusion, too often they focus on a couple of protective characteristics. That's great that they focus on them, but they may well be missing this space. So how do you balance your spend and support in your organisation around diversity and inclusion? But it's also a legal thing. And some leaders find this is the stick that they cope with. It's like, I could get sued. Yes. There are laws across the world around accessibility, particularly around the Equality Act in the UK, and some things around digital accessibility. So there was an airline in the UK who put out an advert with a lovely picture to say how you could get a deal. And if you clicked on the picture, you went to a secret page on the website. Somebody was blind, said, because you didn't do an alt text on it, I missed out on being able to book a cheaper holiday. You have discriminated against me. And that airline lost. In the States, there is a lot of legislation. So in 2023, 4,500 legal cases against the Americans with Disability Act, ADA. It's rising. In the UK, it's less visible because people settle out of court. We had one client who came to us and said, you know what? We got sued a year ago and we paid them off. And then they came back this year and we hadn't done any of the fixes and we've had to pay them off again. Maybe we should have got this right, because actually what we paid in lawyers' fees and compensation could have been spent on making our website better.